Welcome back to Combat Mission Shock Force 2 for the results for Phase 2 of the Road to Damascus multiplayer campaign. There were about half as many games submitted this time, and unlike the first round, things were a lot more one-sided. What you're seeing in the background here is my game against Chap this time round, which was pretty much a complete disaster. Overall, Red got 5 points for inflicting casualties, and Blue got 19 for securing the zones. So if we plot them all on the campaign map and divide Red's points equally between all those zones, Blue takes over the entire map. There are some caveats that come with the results. Blue got all their points from 5 of the 8 games, scoring 1 point in 2 games, 4 in 1, 5 in 1, and then steamrolled Red even more in one game where they scored 8 points in total. It seems that letting Blue deploy down the entire length of the highway really set the conditions for some unbalanced games. Red had a much longer perimeter to cover, had their internal movement seriously restricted by the barricades, and generally had a much more difficult time. That's on me. A bit of testing would have revealed how much of a problem layering the Thunder Run on the barricades was going to be. It's also highlighted a hole in the scoring system for the campaign. With Red getting a point for every 30% casualties it inflicts, it can never score more than 3 per game. Blue, on the other hand, gets a point per zone secured. I never thought that this would be that much of a problem because it was looking like it was going to be very difficult, but obviously if Red's defense completely collapses, then Blue can seize loads of zones, which is a lot more than 3, so it's not very fair. So, what should we do with the campaign? The original intent was to have 3 phases, but without arbitrarily changing the results, Blue now controls all the zones. There are a couple of directions we could go in from here, such as a Red counterattack, but I really don't think any of them would go very well for Red, especially without messing around with the scoring rules. In other words, I think it's all over. Blue won, and NATO is over this little speed bump on the road to Damascus. Red is going to melt away into the population, turn the insurgency dial up to 11, and probably do something absolutely terrible to whoever decided to build all those barricades. But it's important to remember that this was always a prototype, and that by running the campaign I've been able to test out some systems. Not just campaign gameplay mechanics, but the practicalities of communicating how things work, how players can submit results, how I can process them, all the kinds of behind the scenes stuff that makes a multiplayer campaign like this tick. And for the most part, the practical side has been really successful. There are a couple of rough edges to be smoothed out, a few things that could benefit from simplification, and clearly a need to explore how some elements interact to a greater depth ahead of time, like some kind of smart person. The next campaign should be a lot more refined. That'll take a while to throw together. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is update the Road to Damascus map to reflect the fighting in Phase 2 and make that available to you guys. So if you have unfinished business and want to put together your own Phase 3 or use the map to come up with something completely different, you've got the option. There's a link to the map in the description. I want to give a big thank you to everyone who participated. Hopefully you all enjoyed having some battles with outside context. I want to give a big shout out to everyone on the Combat Mission Discord who helped out with design and testing. And the last thing I want to point out is that the Google Drive folder with all the stuff in it is going to stay up. So if you want to take the concept and run with it, make your own multiplayer campaign, steal it, make it better, go ahead. Be creative, make something, share it, have fun with it. And I'll see you in the next video.